In today's video, we're going to create a complete 12-color watercolor wheel using just 3 beautiful colors from the Holbein Artist Watercolor line. The 3 colors we'll be using are Imidazolone Yellow, Quinacridone Magenta, and Ultramarine Deep. If you've been following this color wheel series, you've probably noticed that simply changing one primary color can completely transform the colors you can mix. That's because every pigment has its own color bias, and those subtle differences influence every mixture you create. Today's palette is especially interesting because it combines a warm yellow, a cool red, and a warm blue. That combination gives us a very balanced color wheel with vibrant oranges, beautiful violets, and soft natural greens. Our first color is Imidazolone Yellow. I'll place it here at the top of the wheel. This is a warm, transparent yellow with a rich golden character. Unlike lemon yellow, which leans towards green, Imidazolone Yellow has a slight orange bias. That warm bias makes it excellent for mixing glowing oranges while still producing a beautiful, natural green. One thing I enjoy about this pigment is its versatility. It can be used for bright sunlight, autumn foliage, golden fields, flowers, and warm highlights. Depending on the amount of water you use, it can appear as a soft buttery yellow or a rich golden tone. Notice that I'm using a creamy consistency of paint. That allows the pigment to flow smoothly while maintaining watercolor's beautiful transparency. Next is Quinacridone Magenta. Let's place it at the 4 o'clock position. This is one of my favorite pigments for color mixing. Although we often refer to it as a cool red, it's really a vibrant magenta that naturally leans towards violet. That makes it one of the best colors for mixing luminous purples. Quinacridone Magenta is beautifully transparent and produces brilliant washes, making it especially popular for florals, botanical subjects, sunsets, and portrait work. Even by itself, you can see how vibrant and luminous it appears on the paper. Our third primary color is Ultramarine Deep. Let's paint it at the 8 o'clock position. Ultramarine Deep is a warm blue with a slight violet bias. Compared with Phthalo Blue, it's less intense, but has a softer, more natural appearance. One characteristic I appreciate is its gentle granulation. As the paint dries, the pigment settles into the texture of the paper, creating subtle variations that add interest to skies, mountains, and landscapes. Because it leans towards violet, Ultramarine Deep mixes especially beautiful purples while also producing harmonious natural mixes. Let's begin mixing our secondary colors. These are created by combining equal amounts of 2 neighboring primary colors. We'll begin with orange. I'll mix equal parts of Imidazolone Yellow and Quinacridone Magenta. Immediately, you can see how vibrant this mixture becomes. Unlike the cool primary wheel, which produced soft coral oranges, this palette creates a much richer and more saturated orange. That's because Imidazolone Yellow already leans towards orange. When it's combined with Quinacridone Magenta, very little of the color is neutralized. The result is a warm, glowing orange that's perfect for autumn leaves, pumpkins, sunsets, marigolds, and glowing evening light. Notice how transparent the mixture remains. The light still passes through the paint and reflects back from the white paper, giving the watercolor its characteristic brilliance. Next, let's mix violet. I'll combine equal parts of Quinacridone Magenta and Ultramarine Deep. This is one of my favorite mixtures. Both pigments naturally lean towards violet, so they reinforce one another beautifully. The result is a rich, transparent purple with remarkable depth. You'll also begin to notice the subtle granulation from Ultramarine Deep, which adds texture without making the mixture appear muddy. This color is wonderful for irises, lavender, hydrangeas, distant mountains, colorful shadows, and dramatic evening skies. Now let's mix green. I'll mix equal parts of Imidazolone Yellow with Ultramarine Deep. Notice how different this green is from the bright spring green that can be created with lemon yellow and phthalo blue. Instead of an intense emerald green, we get a softer, warmer green that feels much more natural. That's because both pigments lean away from green. The warm yellow has an orange bias. The warm blue has a violet bias. As those color biases meet, they gently neutralize one another. Many landscape painters actually prefer this type of green because it already resembles the greens we see in nature. It's perfect for forests, fields, olive trees, moss, and natural foliage. Now let's complete our wheel by painting the 6 tertiary colors. These colors are created by mixing one primary color with the secondary color beside it on the color wheel. Let's begin between yellow and orange. I'll add a little bit more Imidazolone Yellow to our orange mixture. Notice how the color immediately becomes lighter because Imidazolone Yellow already has an orange bias. This mixture feels rich and sunny without becoming overpowering. You'll find colors like this in late afternoon sunlight, autumn grasses, marigolds, sunflowers, golden leaves, and warm highlights on buildings and landscapes. Next, let's move between orange and our red primary. By increasing the amount of Quinacridone Magenta, watch how quickly the mixture shifts. Instead of a golden orange, we now have a vibrant red-orange that's full of warmth and energy. This mixture is wonderful for poppies, pumpkins, autumn foliage, glowing sunsets, tropical flowers, coral tones, and warm reflective light. Notice that we haven't introduced any new pigment, we've simply changed the proportions. That's an important lesson in color mixing. The ratio of your pigments is just as important as the pigments themselves. Now let's mix the color between red and violet. I'll add more Quinacridone Magenta to our violet mixture. The result is a rich red-violet with beautiful raspberry and berry-like tones. Because Quinacridone Magenta is naturally transparent and already leans towards violet, this mixture stays incredibly luminous. It's perfect for roses, peonies, berries, colorful shadows. At first glance, tertiary colors may seem like subtle variations of the secondaries, but they're actually some of the most useful colors you'll mix. Think of them as transition colors that bridge one hue to the next. Instead of jumping from yellow straight to orange, or from blue directly to green, tertiary colors create smooth, gradual shifts in color. That's one of the reasons paintings that use plenty of tertiary colors often look more natural and harmonious. Nature is filled with these in-between colors. As we mix each one, pay attention to how even a small change in the ratio of paint creates an entirely different color. That's one of the watercolor's greatest strengths. Tiny adjustments produce a remarkable range of beautiful mixtures. Next, we'll move between violet and blue. Let's increase the amount of Ultramarine Deep. As more ultramarine enters this mixture, the color becomes cooler and deeper. You can also begin to see Ultramarine Deep's beautiful granulation becoming more noticeable. Those tiny pigment particles settle into the paper's texture, creating soft variations that add depth without any extra effort. Blue-violet is wonderful for distant mountains, dramatic storm clouds, evening skies, cool shadows, and atmospheric landscapes. It creates depth while still feeling colorful. Now let's move between blue and green. I'll add more Ultramarine Deep to our green mixture. Because both of our primaries are warm bias, this doesn't create the bright turquoise you might expect from phthalo blue. Instead, we get a subdued blue-green that's calm, natural, and slightly muted. Many landscape painters love colors like this because they resemble evergreen trees, shaded water, deep foliage, eucalyptus leaves. Sometimes the most useful greens aren't the brightest ones. They're the quiet colors that already resemble what we see outdoors. Finally, let's paint yellow-green by increasing the amount of Imidazolone Yellow. This shifts our mixture towards a warm olive green rather than a vivid spring green. Notice how earthy and natural it appears. This is exactly the kind of green you'll often find in grasses, shrubs, moss, olive trees, dried vegetation, and fields during the late summer. One reason I enjoy this particular palette is that these greens need very little adjustment before using them in a landscape painting. They're already balanced. Now that all 6 tertiary colors are in place, take a look around the wheel. Notice how each color gently blends into the next. Instead of 12 isolated colors, we've created a continuous spectrum. That's exactly how color exists in nature. Very few objects are a pure primary or secondary color. Most contain subtle mixtures that fall somewhere between them. Learning to recognize and mix these in-between colors is one of the biggest steps towards becoming confident with watercolor. Once you understand tertiary colors, you'll spend far less time searching for the perfect tube of paint because you'll realize you can mix almost anything. And there we have our completed color wheel. Take a moment to look at the wheel as a whole. One of the things I enjoy most about this exercise is seeing the unique personality of each palette reveal itself. This wheel clearly shows us what these 3 Holbein pigments do best. Imidazolone Yellow gives us warm, glowing yellows and rich golden oranges. Quinacridone Magenta contributes brilliant pinks and luminous violets. Ultramarine Deep adds beautiful granulation, soft, natural greens, and harmonious shadow colors. Together they create a wonderfully balanced palette that's especially well suited for floral paintings, landscapes, botanical subjects, and expressive watercolor work. One of the biggest lessons a color wheel teaches us is that no single primary color can produce every possible mixture perfectly. Every pigment has strengths. Warm yellows create better oranges, cool reds create cleaner violets, warm blues create softer, more natural greens. Once you understand those relationships, color mixing becomes much more predictable and you'll spend less time guessing which paints to choose. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for painting with me today. Until next time, make art, have fun.